Hello everyone, we're back today with another hotel room walkthrough. This week we are in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada at the iconic Las Vegas original, the Bellagio. And the Bellagio opened its doors in the late 1990s in the midst of a bit of a construction boom for the Las Vegas Strip that included the opening of other resorts like the Venetian, and that would make it approximately 20 years old. And although I think it's showing its age, it still has that original classic appeal, and I think we'll see that in our walkthrough today. We are in a king bed room that overlooks the strip. We'll check out the strip view in a moment. It actually has a fountain view, the iconic Bellagio fountains. But before we see those, let's examine the rest of the room. All right, let's say we kick off this tour where we began in the entryway. You can enter the room by simply swiping your room card in proximity of a sensor rather than having to swipe it through a slot. As you enter, though, you see these beautiful marble floors, and on your right there is a floor to ceiling mirror, and then as you turn left you enter the bathroom. Now, what I've always admired about the Bellagio is its elegant simplicity. And what I mean by that is that a lot of the newer resorts on the Las Vegas Strip have more amenities, like, for instance, jets, a jacuzzi in the bathtub. This is just a simple soaking tub. But everything in the Bellagio, although it is simple, it is quite elegant, like these little touches here with the pottery, the pattern on the wallpaper, and the artwork. It all just sort of comes together and definitely reminds you that you're staying at an upscale resort, even though it's one that has been established for quite some time. There's a walk-in shower. And as we'll see in a couple of moments, there are Lanovera bath amenities throughout. Toilet with some more artwork, and only one sink. Again, elegant simplicity. All right, let's exit the bathroom, make a left here, and enter the main room. And before we do so, I'll just point out on the right there are controls for the drapery, and we'll see what those do in a moment. But for now, I'll just point out that there are also lighting controls. This one controls the window lights, and as we entered, there were also controls for the entryway lights. Again, nothing too complicated. Elegant simplicity is the theme. If you've visited any of the newer Las Vegas resorts, you probably noticed that there were LCD touch panel controls with various themes and mood lighting options. And here at the Bellagio, everything is just sort of classic, and it makes sense. And let's start our tour of the bedroom with the bed itself, which has a bench here at the foot. And one of the things you'll notice immediately is that the decor just sort of makes sense. Everything is sort of blue themed. The Bellagio itself, of course, is not heavily themed like resorts like the Excalibur or the Paris. But it is intended to pay homage to the town of Bellagio, which I believe is near Lake Como in Italy. As for the king bed, I would say it's on the firm side, but plush, plenty of pillows, and this nightstand here with the marble top. We have more controls for the window blinds as well as lights just above the headboard for reading. There's plenty of light throughout this room. And within the nightstand here we have a in-drawer safe, which I also think is an extremely nice touch to have this bedside rather than in the closet, as well as extremely discreet yet convenient. You just pull out the drawer and there's your safe, and there's plenty of room in this safe. I have a lot of room to spare, and I have all of my electronics stored. All right, well, as for the front of the room, we have a television which is on the small side, I would say, for five-star resorts in Las Vegas, but it is certainly of sufficient resolution, and I think it is perfectly adequate. We have some media plug-ins just underneath the television, and your standard ice bucket and glassware. And then we have an installation that I think the Bellagio really pioneered in its day, as Steve Wynn, who was the original designer of the Bellagio, was quite a trailblazer and a trendsetter himself. But this, I believe, might be the first hotel in which you have these sensors that detect when an item has been picked up. And if you don't put it back within a certain number of seconds, I believe it may be 30 seconds in the case of Bellagio, then you are charged. And the prices for both the minibar, which we'll see in a moment, and the snack bar are quite high. I believe that it said that the prices are listed here on the television set, so I'm going to browse to Minibar and let's take a look. So I think this probably tells you all you need to know. The fact that a Fiji water is $18.75. That is, I believe, a 1 liter Fiji water. You also have Belgian chocolate fashioned in poker chips with the foil coverings that make them look exactly like Bellagio poker chips. And then a smartphone charging kit, which I think could be quite convenient. However, the cost for these things, again, is astronomical. Electronic device kit is $42.75. Bellagio chocolate poker chips, $32.75. So, buyer beware. Having said that, let's take a quick look at the mini bar as well. We have a nice selection of spirits, chocolate bars. I'm not sure why some of these things, like the Jelly Belly jelly beans, have to be refrigerated. But so we have a bottle of wine with a bottle opener, and it looks like some sparkling wine, vodka, and then a selection of beers and juice and soft drinks. And just to the left of the minibar, we have a series of drawers. All of these open. None of them are just for show. And there is plenty of room. Moving on now to the armoire here, which I think is somewhat unique. There is no closet in the entryway, as you would expect in many of the modern Las Vegas Strip hotels, but instead you have this wardrobe here, and which I think is actually quite stylish and convenient. There is plenty of rack space. It looks like we have around 20 hangers, and in my particular case, I feel like I have plenty of space to store my luggage. I was traveling with a size-wise, carry-on friendly piece of luggage, as well as a backpack, and both of those fit quite nicely inside of the closet. But there's also a stand that can be deployed outside, and you have his and hers bathrobes, as well as an ironing board with, I believe, an iron. And then we move on from the armoire to the work area, the desk, which is located just to the side of the window with an amazing view that we'll see in a moment. But for now, again, nothing terribly special, but just quite elegant. We have sort of a discrete area for plugging in, as well as traditional items like stationery and a gaming guide, which I'm sure can be quite handy, as well as sort of a safety slash amenities check. All right, and finally we have our seating area, sort of a mini living room, if you will, and I can attest to the fact that these chairs are extremely comfortable. In fact, I just awoke from a 2-hour nap in this particular chair, and I had my feet propped up on this one. On the table here we have a couple of guides that describe the dining options at the Bellagio. This one deals with the restaurants downstairs, and what's amazing to me is we just flip through here and gaze upon the list of incredible restaurants that still populate the Bellagio is the sheer number of those restaurants, as well as the fact that despite Bellagio's age, it still has some of the best restaurants in Las Vegas, and I think better options than many of the newer resorts that that count as perhaps more luxurious or trendy than the tried and true Bellagio. I think it merits mentioning the in-room dining because I think, in my opinion at least, the Bellagio along with the Cosmopolitan are two of the hotels on the Las Vegas Strip in which it makes perfect sense to try in-room dining, room service as a bit of a no-brainer, at least once during your stay, given that with the Cosmo you have those wonderful open-air balconies with strip views, and here at the Bellagio, of course, at least if you are lucky enough to acquire one, you can have a wonderful view of the Strip and the fountains, which are particularly beautiful backlit at night. So I think a room service dinner at the Bellagio would be quite appropriate. And as you saw, as is the case throughout the Las Vegas Strip and resorts throughout the world, room service is expensive, but Bellagio has a very simple set of options, and I think options that make sense for the brand. And one of those options is this seasonal menu, which does change, as the name implies, seasonally. It has appetizers, main courses, sides, and a dessert. And you can actually pick an appetizer, main course, side, and dessert for $65 flat. All right, let's say we finish our tour by revisiting the drapery controls here at bedside. And I'm just going to open both the shears and the drapes and behold the incredible view. Well, the only comment I'll make concerning the view is that we are on the 9th floor, which may sound relatively high, but as you can see, our view of the fountain show will be slightly obscured by some of these elements of the rooftop architecture on the facade of the Bellagio near the entrance, which is where many of the restaurants that offer fountain views reside. But aside from that, absolutely incredible here at sunset. You see the Eiffel Tower at the Paris has just illuminated, and that's especially gorgeous after the sun has completely set. And you have Planet Hollywood. There's too much glare here, but you have the Cosmopolitan off to our right, and then Bally's and the Flamingo. And perhaps we'll get a better shot of all of this later tonight during a fountain show. Well, that's all for our tour today, folks. Join me next time on another hotel walkthrough, and bon voyage.